Welcome to a new Scary Tuesday, TikTakers. Today, we go back to our beloved Mexico to talk about one of the most famous legends in the country, the legend of the Iron Lady. Listen carefully to this story. Eulalia was an attractive woman with blonde hair and very light-colored eyes. Her greatest passion in life was taking care of others, and thus everyone was sure she would become a great nurse. And they were right. She was very professional and thoughtful in her job, although sometimes a little bit too much. She would stay working more hours than necessary, would chat for a long time with her patients, and had an admirable level of patience. Moreover, she always stood out due to how elegantly she dressed, and despite her hard work, her clothes were always perfectly clean and ironed. One day, as it usually happens, a new doctor arrived to the hospital where she worked. And as soon as she saw him, Eulalia fell in love with him. From that point on, she focused all of her efforts in winning his heart. And she had to really try hard since that doctor had a reputation of being a womanizer and would be talking with many different women at the same time. Eulalia preferred to ignore those rumors and focused on making the doctor become her boyfriend, and she was successful. Some time went by, and eventually the doctor proposed to her. However, before the wedding, he needed to travel to do a 15-day seminar. Once he came back, they would surely get married. Eulalia felt like the luckiest woman in the world. Finally, her love was completely requited. However, a few days after the departure of her beloved, a co-worker approached Eulalia to confess something to her. He needed to tell her that everyone knew the doctor wasn't traveling to give any seminar. In reality, he had quit his job. Eulalia was shocked, but her co-worker still had more bad news. The doctor was married to another woman, and right at that moment, he was enjoying his honeymoon. This situation became more real for Eulalia after 15 days when her dearly beloved never came back. Nobody heard from him ever again, and she fell into a terrible depression. This completely changed Eulalia's personality, and she was never the same again. She would always be in a bad mood and would treat her patients with complete disdain. She became a bad professional to the point that she committed medical negligence more than once. Eulalia kept that attitude for many years. The patients feared her, and her co-workers would never approach her. Until one day, she became ill. This helped her realize how bad she had treated her patients over the years. Prostrated in a bed, all alone, she regretted all the damage she had caused. And it seems that she was actually able to make amends for her mistakes, TikTakers. The legend says that during the American invasion in Mexico, many field hospitals were set up. The working conditions in them were very harsh, and the nurses could barely rest. And thus, they would frequently fall asleep in a corner. When they woke up, they would rush to their patients to give them the medications they forgot to give them, as well as all the corresponding treatments they needed. However, to their surprise, the patients would say that another very well-dressed nurse had helped them already. And when they asked the patients to describe that nurse, all of them described the same person. An attractive woman with blonde hair, light-colored eyes, and very clean and ironed clothes. There was nobody with those characteristics working in the field hospitals, so over time, all those testimonies were attributed to the Iron Lady. She received that name precisely because of her clean and ironed clothes. The first stories came from the Juarez hospital, but later on, more medical centers started reporting the same kind of testimonies. And not only the patients, since a few medical professionals also said to have seen her in a room. They all coincide in that her behavior is very warm and kind. It seems that Eulalia's ghost came back to try to make up for her mistakes. So be on the lookout, TikTakers. Who knows when you might be treated by the Iron Lady? And if it ever happens to you, let us know, please. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode.